morning. It's another hot day. So we are Module 7, Lesson 2. This is create conversion tables for length, weight, capacity units using measurement tools, and use the tables to solve problems. So same kind of concept as yesterday in the first lesson where we did inches and feet and yards and feet, inches, feet, yeah, yards and feet, and what was the other one? The other one, whatever. Today we're doing units of measure, and capacity. Well, a lot of this is capacity. So basically how much something can hold. So we're doing gallons, quarts, pints, cups. I am going to search for the, there's a couple little YouTube videos on like the Gallon King or the Gallon Man or the Queen. There's a Princess one, but it's a cool tool you can use to remember how many quarts in a gallon and et cetera, et cetera. So our biggest unit of measure when we're talking about holding something that we're going to be talking about is a gallon. So think of a gallon of milk, okay? So in each, I won't be able to draw the Gallon Man right now, but so if you have 1 gallon, then you have 4 quarts. So each, and I'm not drawing this the right way, each gallon, so gallon's going to be your biggest unit, and then we have quarts. Okay? And then each quart has 2 pints. So I'm not drawing the Gallon Man right now, but like I said, I will link it to you guys. So pints are smaller. You can get a pint of ice cream. It's like those little containers. It's not nearly enough in there, but whatever. So each pint has 2 cups. Okay, so each pint has 2 cups. Cups have 8 ounces too. Not that we're doing that here, I don't think, right now, but I can't fit them all. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I can't really fit, but so it's a terrible drawing. And like I said, I will put on Google Classroom the Gallon Man stuff, but so cups are going to be the smallest unit of measure that we're talking about, and gallons are going to be the biggest. Okay, so our charts are actually relatively easy to fill out, but it is worth taking the time to do that. Okay, so get your practice sheet, not the problem set, but the practice sheet that it came with, just like yesterday's, where we filled out the practice sheet first, then we use that. We have gallons and quarts, okay? So I've already told you that each gallon has 4 quarts. So what do we skip counting by? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So every 1 gallon has 4 quarts. So every 2 would have 8. So go ahead and fill that out. I'm going to turn it and fill it out. It'll be quicker for me. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. So what are we doing? We are multiplying by 4. So that's what you put on the bottom. Okay? Now we're doing quarts to pints. So every quart has 2 pints. So, I should have left my numbers. Silly me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what do we skip counting by? 2s. So you multiply by 2. So go ahead and fill that out. You're skip counting by 2s. You're like, oh, this is so easy. I know how to do this. Okay, so that's quarts to pints. So every quart has 2 pints. Now you're going to do, so we multiply by 2. So now we're going to do pints to cups. And guess what? Every pint has 2 cups. Every pint has 2 cups. So look, it's the same thing. So I'm not rewriting it. You have to though. Now we have another section on this practice sheet that is actually really important. So part D, it says gallon is how many pints. So I'm going to show you, well, it'd be easier if I could actually show you this. So look at 1 gallon. Look on your, so we're on A, and you look at 1 gallon, and then move your finger over. How many quarts is that? That says 4 quarts, but we needed pints. Okay, so we have to convert this twice. Okay, like that last problem on lesson 1 on the problem set, we had to do 2 conversions to get to inches. So if you take your finger and you start at 1 gallon and you move it over and you see 4 quarts. Now go to B, and B, it says quarts to pints. So find 4 quarts. How many pints is that? If you move your finger over, you're going to find it is 8 pints. 1 gallon is 8 pints. Now you may have already known that. If you could say to yourself, well, 1 gallon has 4 quarts and every quart has 2 pints, so you just multiply 4 times 2. But here's where you can actually just use that chart that we made and it'll be easier for you. Now we have to go from quart to cups. So 1 quart is how many cups? Oops. So 1 quart, so go to 1 quart. So we're on B. 1 quart has 2 pints. So take your 2 pints and go down to C in our practice sheet. So 2 pints has how many cups? 4. Okay, so this is part D. And then 1 gallon has how many cups? If I had kept not my gallon man, but what I was doing, I started with the gallons and then all those cups were down there. That was a pretty big number. So let's do it using our chart though. 1 gallon has how many quarts? 4. Now go to your quarts in B and go down to 4. 4 quarts has how many pints? 8. We already did that one. Now take your 8 pints for C. Go to C and go all the way down to 8 pints. How many cups is that? 16. So 16 cups. So 1 gallon has 16 cups. So if you have a gallon of milk, you should ideally get 16 cups out of that. All right, so now we're ready for the problem set. Okay, it's the same kind of structure as lesson 1. So there's a good amount of questions on here, so we'll just get going. Okay, Susie has 3 quarts of milk. How many pints does she have? Now, you can go right back to your practice sheet and find it. Find 3 quarts and how many pints. But in your head, I want you to be thinking, well, 1 quart has 2 pints. So if she has 3 quarts, we can multiply by 2. So what's 3 times 2? That is 6. So number 1 is Susie has 6, what are we on? Pints. Susie has 6 pints of milk. Okay, but you can also go right back to your chart and find 3 quarts, and it tells you at the bottom, because we did that we multiply by 2. It's just gallons to quarts that have 4. The other ones have 2. So quarts to pint has 2, and then pints to cups has 2. Okay. So number 2, Kristen has 3 gallons, 2 quarts of water. Alana, could be either. I think it's Alana. Alana needs the same amount of water, but only has 8 quarts. How many more quarts of water does Alana need? So let's change our 3 gallons and 2 quarts to all quarts, okay? So she needs the same amount of water, but only has 8 quarts. Okay. so we need to convert 3 gallons to quarts. All right, so 3 gallons is how many quarts? So look at your chart. 3 gallons has 12 quarts. Plus our 2 quarts. Okay, so I'm just, so that is 14 quarts. What did I just do? I added those. 3 gallons is 12 quarts because we just multiply by 4 plus our 2, so 14 quarts. So she has 8 quarts of water. So how many, from 8 to 14, how many more do we need? Oh, we can't see. So basically you're just subtracting there, or you're starting at 8 and going up to 14. So you can't see this. Basically, Alana needs 6 more quarts because 14 minus 8 is 6. So if I have 8 and I have to go up to 14, I need 6 more. Okay, so that's the answer to number 2. Now here's a little review that we did. We did a little bit yesterday too, and this is what we had learned about back in module 2. Liters and milliliters. So do you remember? Just like yesterday when we did kilograms to grams, and there was another one that we did. But this is liters to milliliters. So how many? So 1 liter is going to have how many milliliters? And I bet you remember 1,000. The only one that had 100 was the centimeter one. Remember that? Okay, so 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so Leonard bought 4 liters of orange juice. How many milliliters? Well, 4 liters is going to give us 4,000 milliliters. So that was actually an easy one if you remembered that for every one there was 1,000. Okay, so Leonard has 4,000 milliliters of juice. All right, complete the following conversion tables and write the rule under each table. So this is the same thing we did yesterday, and basically the same thing we did on the practice sheet. We just have different numbers. So we've got our gallon and we've got our quart. Okay, so we have our gallon and our quart. Hopefully you can see this. And we're doing 1 gallon, 3 gallons, 5 gallons, 10 gallons, and 13. So let's remember the rule. What's the rule when we're doing gallons to quarts? How many? It's not 2, it's 4. So 1 gallon has 4 quarts. So what are we doing? You can write it right at the bottom. We are multiplying by 4. Okay? Yesterday's was even harder with like 1 pound and 16 ounces. So we either multiply by 2 or 4. So that's pretty great. 3 has how many? 12. 5 times 4 is 20. 10 times 4 is 40. And now we can make it easy for us, and we can do, so 13 is made up of 10 and 3. So 10 has 40, 3 has 12, add those together and you get 52. Or we could have done 13 times 4 and you get 12 or 52. See how we can do it that way? We can get fancy with that. Okay, so, and we did the bottom part was multiplied by 4. So now quarts to pints. So 1 quart has how many pints? It is 2. So we got our quart, pint, 1, 2, 6, 10, and 16. Raise that up a little. So we know that we are multiplying by 2. I just wrote times 2 at the bottom. You can't really see it. 1 quart, 2 pints, 2. We're multiplying by 2. We're multiplying by 2. Now this one, you could do these two together, but I also know that double 16, you have 32. So it's up to you on that one. Look at that. That was an easy. All right, so this is still Module 1, Lesson 2. I just had a phone call come in, so it stopped the video. I'm gonna have to try to put them together. Sorry, if I can't get it together, you'll have 2 separate links, but is what it is right now, okay? So let's just continue and I'll try to figure it out later. Of course, by the time you see this, I would have figured something out, maybe with 2 separate links, I don't know. All right, so we're trying to figure out how many quarts are in 8 gallons, 2 quarts, okay? So 8 gallons has how many quarts? We know the rule is multiply by 4, so we have 32 quarts plus our 2, so we have 34 quarts. Okay, 34 quarts. B is 15 gallons, 2 quarts. So again, we're trying to find quarts. 15 gallons, 2 quarts. Multiply by 4. So 15 times 4 is going to be 60 plus 2, which is 62 quarts. All right, now we are doing C. We have 8 quarts, 2 pints. So 1 quart has how many pints? 2. So we have 8 quarts, 2 pints. 8 quarts, so 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2, which is 18 pints. And then 12 quarts, 3 pints. So 12 quarts, so let's see. Oh, we have to do cups. Excellent. So 12 quarts, 3 pints. So the best thing to do, so cups is our smallest unit, quarts are bigger, and then pints are smaller, and then our smallest is cups. So let's get these to pints first. 1 quart has 2 pints, so we multiply by 2, so that's 24 pints now, plus our 3 pints. So we have 27 pints. Okay, but that wasn't the question. It said how many cups. 1 pint has 2 cups. So we take that and we double that. We multiply it by 2, and now we have 54 cups. Cool. All right. Next one. Oh man, we do lots of conversions in this. 26 gallons, 3 quarts, and we have to figure out how many pints. See, I love this stuff because it's like a little mystery. 26 gallons, 3 quarts. First step is get these gallons to quarts. 26, so we have to multiply by 4. Remember, there are 4 quarts in a gallon. So we do 26 times 4. That's 24. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. So that's 104 plus 3. So that's 104, 5, 6, 7. 107 quarts, right? Yep. Quarts. And now we have to figure out pints. Well, for every quart, there are 2 pints. So double that. Multiply that by 2, and you should get 214 pints. And if we took that a step further and asked how many cups, we would double that again, 428. All right, and our last one of the top here, F, is 32 gallons, 2 quarts, and we have to go all the way to cups. Woohoo! 32 gallons, 2 quarts. Okay, so 32 gallons, so we multiply by 4. So 32 times 4, 128. 4 times 2 is 8. Yeah, so 128. I'm just getting rid of this because this is 128 plus 2. So that's 130 quarts, right? Now, quarts to pints. So we have 130 quarts. We double it to find the pints. So that's 260 pints, right? Pints. And now we have to find cups. Well, we just double that again because for every 1 pint, there are 2 cups. So what do we have? We double that, we get 520 cups. That was a good one. That's my favorite. All right, true or false? If it is false, make the statement true. Okay, so 1 gallon is greater than 4 quarts. No. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So our first one is false. Now we have to make it true. So we can do a lot of different things. You can change the 4 quarts to 3 quarts or 2 or 1. Or we could put an equal sign. 1 gallon, it's up to you, equals 4 quarts. You know, why not? All right, next one, 5 liters equals 5,000 milliliters. Well, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters, so that is true. So our B is true. And then our C, of course, this is going to be a more difficult one. 15 pints is less than 1 gallon, 1 cup. So let's figure out the 1 gallon, 1 cup. And we have to figure out how many, So 15 pints. One gallon, 1 cup. Oh, this one's a little harder because it won't. Okay, so 1 gallon is 4 quarts, right? 1 cup. 4 quarts is how many pints? 8 pints. 1 cup. We can't actually, unless we do all of these in cups, which we could do, we could kind of just leave it here, because even though this is pint and this is cup, there are only 8 pints and there are 15 pints here. So it can't be correct. So it's false. So maybe instead of the 1 gallon, we change it to 2 gallons. You know, we could always do that. Okay. So 7. Russell had, this is a hard one actually. Russell has 5 liters of a certain medicine. If it takes 2 milliliters to make 1 dose, how many doses can he make? Now we're going to start with a tape diagram on this. Okay. So we've got 2 milliliters. Ooh. And this whole thing is 5 liters. 5 liters is how many milliliters? 5,000 milliliters. Okay, so we have 5,000 milliliters, and we each dose has 2 milliliters. How many doses can we get? Is it clear for you now? We take our 5,000 and we divide it by 2, because that's 2 milliliters. So we have 2,500, so we just split it in half. So we have 2,500 doses. It's much better when you actually draw this one out. So there's your answer. So Russell can make 2,500 doses. Each month, the Moore family drinks 16 gallons of milk, and the Siller family goes through 44 quarts of milk. Which family drinks more milk each month? Okay, so we have 16 gallons, and we're comparing 44 quarts. Okay, let's just convert this to quarts. You could actually convert that to gallons. I already did in my head actually, but let's convert this to quarts. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 16 times 4. 4, 2, 4, 5, 6. So they drink 64 quarts, and they drink 44 quarts. Our 64 is definitely bigger. If you convert this to gallons, you actually divide by 4, which gives us 11 gallons. But since we've been multiplying, I wanted to stick with that. So which family more? Well, definitely the Moore family drinks more milk. And the last one, Keith's lemonade stand serve lemonade in glasses with a capacity of 1 cup. So If he had 9 gallons of lemonade, how many cups could he sell? So we have to go from gallons all the way down to cups. No problem, right? So 9 gallons is how many quarts? Actually, I'll do it across so you can see it. How many quarts? So we multiply by 4, right? So that is 36 quarts. Now we have to go from quarts to pints. So we multiply by 2 because 1 quart has 2 pints. So now we have 72 pints. Now we have to go from pints to cups. 1 pint has how many cups? 2. So we double that. So double that. We get 144 cups, right? 72 times 2, 4, 14. Yep. So he could sell 144 cups. And that, boys and girls, is lesson 2. Awesome job.